Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Now today I want to talk about a disturbing movie that I've watched not that long ago, and a movie that has stuck itself into my brain. So let's go, and I am talking about the Spanish small independent horror movie, The Coffee Table. Now, The Coffee Table came out in 2022, but it got like a wider release and has been put onto Shudder. It was on Amazon Prime for a while, towards the end of 2023 and most of last year. And me being me, obviously just never got the memo. I heard about it when it came out, but it just flew by me, mainly because it didn't come out for me to see for like a while, and because of that I just completely forgot about it, went and saw other movies and just completely forgot about it until I was scrolling through Shudder a few days ago and I stumbled upon The Coffee Table. So I was like, that's one that's on my watch list, let's give it a watch. And oh boy, was it a doozy. So this video will be talking about it, and we will be going into spoilers for it. So what I will urge everyone to do, if you're watching this video and you've not seen it and you think, you know what, I want to watch a disturbing movie, then don't watch the rest of this video, watch the movie, because this movie is unbelievably powerful when you know nothing about it. I went in completely blind. I, granted, obviously knew that something was bad was going to happen because it's been dubbed disturbing, but I was never active on TikTok, which this movie did a lot of. This is where it was popular on TikTok. So last year I wasn't really on TikTok, so I didn't really see what everyone was talking about. So I was able to get to the movie without actually knowing what actually happens in a movie. You know, I just know it's about a coffee table. That's it. So if you are someone that knows that this movie is on your watch list and you haven't seen it yet, or you're thinking, you know what, I quite like these dark movies, then watch it. Do not watch the rest of this video. Go watch that movie right now, because you need to watch it blinded. You know, you cannot know anything about it and you will get the most out of it that way. All I will say, for people that maybe are on the fence, and you know doesn't want to know spoilers about it, but don't really know, have never heard of it, this is a 2022 Spanish horror movie. Yes, I love the Spanish movies. They're so good at just doing dark, just depressing movies, and it follows a couple who buy a tacky, and I mean it is tacky, coffee table, and things don't exactly go to plan when they bring that coffee table into their lives. So that's all I'm going to say. That's all you can say. You can't say anything else about this movie without any form of spoilers coming into it. And yeah, all I will say, what I also will say, to be fair, is if you're not sure if you can handle a disturbing movie, but you want to give it a go, the really big disturbing incident happens about 15 minutes into the movie, so you can watch 15 minutes and then see if actually you want to carry on. So that's quite nice. You don't have to get right to the end and then actually feel like I can't carry on. So that's something for you to keep in mind as well. I've warned you all now, I will be going into spoilers, okay? So this movie ruined my day when I watched it, because it's just a masterclass in just emotional dread. You know, this movie does such a fantastic job in giving you something that's so disturbing and horrific, but doing it in such a way that it's not over the top graphic. And I say that because lately, the last few years, it's become kind of, you see a lot of these movies now where they're trying to one-up each other with gore. The Terrifier movies, full of gore. Final Destination, obviously that's more CGI, heavy gore, but still a lot of blood. You got like the ugly stepsister, which I watched not that long ago as well. I thought that was fantastic, but that kind of goes into quite a lot of, towards the end, quite a lot of graphic content. And I'm someone that loves gore. I can handle gore. I'm not someone that doesn't like it. I think when it's done well, it's good, and when it's done practically, it's fun to look at. But this movie could have gone the route of showing everything in graphic detail, in horrific detail, and I think it would lessen the impact. So, what am I talking about disturbingness about it? So, as I mentioned, this couple buy a coffee table. What I didn't mention, this couple has a newborn baby, a little boy, a little friendly, happy little-go-lucky boy. And Maria, who's the mother, is so overjoyed and so happy and just absolutely loves this child. She would die for this child. She just doesn't know life without this child. She doesn't know happiness without this child. Jesus, the father, loves the baby, but maybe is not so happy with the fact that he feels he was rushed into having this child, and also has a really problematic thing with the name. He does not like the name of the baby. But it starts off with them buying this coffee table, and you instantly know that Maria and Jesus are not happy with each other. They're snipping at each other, they're arguing with each other, they're making snide comments, and you know that boiling point is about to hit with this couple. To be fair, I am in Maria's corner with this coffee table because it's absolutely atrocious. I would not be caught dead with a coffee table looking like that. But I digress. That is a story for a whole other day. They buy the coffee table because Jesus is like, I'm doing it regardless. This is the only thing that I'm allowed to do, so I'm doing it, damn it. He brings this coffee table up and he finds there's a screw missing that would connect this unbreakable glass to the coffee table. Okay, the salesman, who is a skeevy salesman, you know he's lying, is like, it's unbreakable, the glass is unbreakable, it's magical, right? So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, this movie is going to be a haunted coffee table, right? This coffee table is going to have a curse on it, and that's going to cause them to do horrific things to each other, maybe. Or even yet, maybe if it's so special, maybe there's something hidden in it that people want. That sort of thing. That's what I was expecting. But, oh no. It's something a lot more human, let's just say, where Maria's fed up with it all. She goes shopping. She's like, you have the baby, I need some time away. And you deal with this coffee table. And because he's waiting for the screw to come, he has like the glass like upright. And he's there with the baby, and the baby's crying, and he's trying to get the baby down to sleep. And he's saying, look at this beautiful coffee table, look at the table. And then it's like a panning shot, like a slow zoom shot where you don't see, you just hear, you don't see them, you just hear them, and then you hear the incident. And the baby somehow has gone into the unbreakable glass, and it's decapitated the baby. And the baby's head is underneath the armchair, and that's where it will stay until the end of the movie. And Jesus is just left staring at this horrific incident. Now, the way they portray this is fantastic. Like, it's one of my favourite uses of sound I've had in a movie for a long time. Like I said, you don't see anything. It's all kind of like staring at the entranceway to the living room, and he kind of goes towards the coffee table, which is off of screen, but you can hear the baby crying you can hear him talking to the baby, talking about it all, and then you just hear this loud crash, and you hear like a gurgling, and you see like the glass smatter and the glass kind of go across the room, and then, unless you're really paying attention, you can miss it, but you see something fly underneath the armchair, and you see blood come out at the back of it, and unless you're like watching, you'd miss it, but that's the head of the baby, and then it just cuts, and it's just, you just hear Jesus's just like hyperventilation, and he's just staring at his hands. He's injured, he's got blood everywhere, there's blood everywhere, and the way that they do so much without actually showing you this horrific incident, it's just a masterclass. It really is, because one, it helps with budget, because you're not having to build dummies, you're not having to do all this practical stuff, but also it just builds so much more dread, because you're left thinking what that looks like. You're left thinking, how has that happened? And your mind is always worse 9 times out of 10 than what it's going to be shown on the screen, and it's just unbelievable. They do show the body of the baby very quickly. It's not it doesn't linger, and it's more the way they show things of like the environment around it is how they kind of get across the devastating blow. You see the baby's body, like lifeless body, very quickly, but then it will cut to its toy, its big teddy bear that's sat next to the coffee table, and that's covered in blood, and you know, oh my god, you know, that sort of thing. And the way that they use just the environment to show how things are progressing throughout the story, it really is like a fantastic thing to witness. Obviously that's in the first 15 minutes of the movie, and then the rest of the hour and 10 minutes of this movie is just Jesus trying to hide this incident from his wife, and then consequently from his brother and his brother's missus, and you know it's not going to end well. You know they're going to find out at the end of this movie what's happened, and you're just waiting for it to happen, and it descends into like a panic attack. It's such a fantastic way of showing this story, because they could have gone the route of being very graphic and showing it, and then having him telling Maria straight away what's happened, and then them grieving, and maybe them, like throughout the movie showing them how they're coming against each other. Whereas it's not. It really is just focused on Jesus for this movie, and just how he just completely cannot deal with reality anymore, and how he will go to just try to hide things knowing that he can't escape it. And it's such a fantastic way of looking at terrible events and accidents that happen, and just how your body can go into shock, and how you can do things that aren't logical because of what you've experienced. And it's such a cool look into that. I think the acting is absolutely phenomenal, both from Jesus, which is David Pereira, and Maria. I am so sorry if I am butchering these pronunciations. I'm not a Spanish speaking person. Estefana de los Santos, both of them absolutely sensational, especially for Maria towards the end when she finds out what's happened. It's gut-wrenching, it's heartbreaking, it's such a fantastic performance from both of them. This movie, there's some great moments, some great set pieces where you think like he's on the precipice of being found out, and then he'll just gaslight Maria into saying everything's fine, and he'll get away with it for that moment. There's a moment where he puts the baby's body into his cot, and says like he's got the baby to sleep, don't go in there, and they have the baby monitor, and you can hear dripping, and Maria's like, I hear dripping, what's going on, is there water in there? And you know what that dripping is, and he's like, I'll deal with it, and you can just see like the blood just dripping out of the cot onto the floor because it's sodden with blood because the baby has no head and he's just put the baby there. It's such a great use again of sound, the sound design, the way it cuts all of the sound around it and you just hear the little drips. It's fantastic. I love the way as well that towards the end of the movie, the tension is at an all-time high and he's completely lost it. He's imagining things, he's hallucinating things, and the way that the sound mixes in with that as well, like in the way it cuts into real life and his hallucinations. Again, the sound is just absolutely phenomenal, and some of the best I've seen in a long time in movies, not just horror, but in movies in general. And it's one that I wish I'd seen on a big screen with like a big sound thing, because I think there's so much little nuances in the sound design I feel like you can miss at home. So yeah, that was fantastic. You know, you're probably wondering what's going on, how does it end? There's a little girl at the top of the building, it's like a building complex, who is in love with Jesus, and she has a little dog, and she basically comes in to say that Jesus is in love with me, he kissed me, yada yada yada. So everyone's already freaking out about that. Jesus and his brother know what's happening. Carlos, who's the brother, overhears Jesus making a suicide note explaining what happened. He gets told what's happened, he gets shown. He knows that Maria's going to find out. He just needs to tell Maria in an okay way. So everyone's like just at an all-time high tension level, and then she puts the dog down, and you know what's going to happen when that dog goes down, and the dog drags the head out from underneath the chair. Carlos grabs it, and Maria instantly knows that there's something going on, and she's begging and begging and begging, and finally she sees it, and she just breaks down. She cradles the head, and it's just this long moment where she's just wailing, and she's in so much pain, and then it cuts to Jesus, who's just collapses, and he's struggling to hold himself up, and he's crying, and it cuts then to the girlfriend of Carlos, who's throwing up, and you've got this little girl who's freaking out. It's such like a sensory overload, and it's so heartbreaking because you have so much empathy for all these characters, because it's all avoidable, but nothing was done maliciously, in the sense that Jesus didn't throw his baby into the coffee table. Carlos didn't deliberately wait until that moment to give Maria the baby head. It just happened this way. And Maria's just had up until this moment just saying how much she loves this baby and how much it's a miracle, and that's how it ends, is that she finds out what's happened to her baby boy, and she can't take it anymore. So she throws herself, she commits suicide off the balcony holding the baby's head, and then you find out that Jesus as well killed himself the same way, and Carlos is kind of unable to deal with what's happened, and all he can say is the coffee table, and that's all he can talk about, and that's how it ends. And I've heard some people not enjoy the ending that much. I think they feel like it should have maybe ended with her kind of like cradling the baby at the head, and maybe because the way they show Maria end herself is that she walks out onto the balcony, and then the camera pans and the camera goes back to the balcony and there's nothing there. It's like just like a wind chill. And I think people were like, it should have ended there, rather than then the police get there and be like, this happened and that character's in hospital because she's scared, and that character's here and that character's only at the coffee table. I can get what people are saying, but I think it's quite nice to tie up that, this is what would happen. People will be affected by this forever. And this first responders will come onto the scene. They will find these bodies. This will be happening. And I just feel like I don't have a problem with the ending. But I just loved this movie. It's a very difficult watch. A very, very hard, grueling watch. That's very disturbing, but not in a graphic sense that you would. I was expecting it to be like a blood gore fest, whereas this is just a depressing, just sad terrible movie, like events in the movie. It's also dubbed as a horror comedy. Now, when I first finished it, I was like, what the hell comedy is this? There's no flat comedy in it. Since like rewatching scenes and stuff so I could get prepared for this video, the comedy is very, very dark, but it's more irony. It's the sentences and the dialogue that the characters say to each other that you kind of can't help but chuckle at because of what's happened. Like, for example, just after the baby's head's been lopped off, Maria calls him in the supermarket, and it goes, see, he hangs up, and she calls her back and he goes, did it cut off? And obviously the baby's head has been cut off, and things like she loves the fact that this coffee table is broken because she hated it, and she's like laughing and being like, oh, I wish I could be here when that happened, and it's like, no, you don't. Stuff like that. That's where the humour comes in. It's very dark humour, so much so that when I watched it, I didn't pick up on the humour at all. I was more just like gobsmacked what I was seeing. But rewatching some of the dialogue now, getting ready, I can pick it up and I can appreciate it. I think second watch of this movie, I think you'd pick up on a lot more kind of like humour in it, and I think that's needed. That's needed. But all in all, did I think the coffee table was disturbing? You bet your ass it did. It depressed me. But did your girl go and instantly order it off of HMV for her collection? You bet your ass he did. So yeah, I can't wait to rewatch it. I might give it a little bit of time before I rewatch it, but I can't wait to give it a go again, see how much of the humour I pick up, and see if I can find any more noises and stuff from the sound design, because that is, like I said, the selling point of this movie is how they use the sound to depict the gruesome events. Now, this is the sort of video I want to be doing a lot more, talking about disturbing movies. I said on my Instagram, send me your disturbing movies for me to do this type of videos with, and also comment down below as well what disturbing movies or depressing movies you want to see me go into, because I'm someone that enjoys the dark side of film, especially horror. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video if you enjoyed it. Follow me on these socials as well for all things movie related and collection related. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I've been Sophia Margaritelli. I'll see you at the next video. Ciao, ciao. Goodbye for now.